I hope that you guys are doing amazing wherever you are in the world. My name is Boom Shikha, and I welcome you to my channel and to my videos. In this video, I had something really interesting to speak to you guys about, and how intuition works and how different people connect to their intuition very differently. The reason this came up for me is because I was sitting a couple of days ago with a friend, and he started telling me how his intuition works. And it was really interesting because he was saying that, when he first started realizing that it was his intuition speaking to him, he didn't actually know that it was actually his intuition. Okay, so basically he was sitting there, and he started doing a lot of the different things that he was doing, meditating, blah blah blah, and all of a sudden he realized that every single time he had something really big happen in his life, or something that was pulling at him, or something that was trying to talk to him, his stomach would start hurting. Now, of course, it was not exactly his stomach, it was his gut, and that's when he realized it was gut, that was his gut talking to him. But it was basically his intuition speaking to him through his gut. But his stomach would start hurting, like really badly, and he just thought it was indigestion. And I thought it was brilliant. That's the reason I wanted to share it with you guys, because it's so funny, because for the longest time, when he first started feeling this pain, he thought it was indigestion. He went to all the doctors, he went to acupuncturists, he went to all the naturopaths and all the natural medicine practitioners, because he's like, I'm not sure what's going on, because the doctors couldn't find anything wrong with him. They couldn't understand what it was. They wanted to give him painkillers, or they wanted to give him medicine, and he's like, no, it doesn't make any sense. I'm perfectly healthy. I just get these random pains all the time in my gut only, in my stomach. And so he went to one acupuncturist, and the acupuncturist said, oh, that's just your gut talking to you, that's just your intuition speaking to you. And all of a sudden, this light bulb went off in his head, an aha moment, right? Oh my God, yeah, that makes sense. It's my intuition, because whenever his stomach started hurting, it was during a point where he should have been listening to his gut and following his gut, rather than following the other path that was laid out for him by someone else. So he started looking at it a little bit deeper, and instead of running away from that pain, he started following it a little bit more and kind of leaning into it, and listening to it. And that's what I think intuition, that's why I love intuition so much. That's why I love our power as an intuitive so much. The truth is, not all people have this intuitive sense. Maybe they have it, maybe they don't listen to it, but also a lot of people don't have the sense at all, because they're just maybe not connected, or they just don't think that there is this power in them, or they just don't believe in magic. And I think of intuition as pure magic, as beautiful magic, right? We're so lucky to have this power. Now, this is the power of the intuition, is that it will keep on poking and prodding and touching and telling you things until you listen, Unfortunately, lots of us spend 60, 70, 30, 80 years not listening to it, and eventually it dies off, because our gut dies off, all the bacteria dies off, and things like that. But if you are young in any sense of the word, if you are young in health, young in body, young in mind, then you can be absolutely sure that your intuition is going to poke and prod at you until you listen to it, until you listen to her. I think of my intuition as a girl, as me, as my inner deep self. She's sitting there and telling me, you're doing something wrong, taking the wrong path, you're supposed to be going this way instead of that way. And so I think of her actually as sitting there and poking and prodding at me all day long. Because no matter what we're doing in life, we're always making choices. Life is choices, right? You get up in the morning, you make a choice. Either you brush your teeth right away, or you have a cigarette. Or you get up in the morning, you make a choice. Either you meditate right away, or you go on Facebook. There's so many choices. Every single moment is a choice that you're making, right? Now, the intuition doesn't speak up at every single moment, right? It doesn't always talk to you and say, oh, this is the right decision. Yeah, you should go brush your teeth. No, it doesn't. It doesn't worry about all those mundane details. It doesn't matter to it, because it doesn't really care about that stuff. But when you're really making an important decision, which is going to affect the course of the rest of your life, and where it feels like you're going against your values, and you're really, really moving in a direction where it's going to cause you a lot of pain, a lot of strife, and a lot of angst, then it speaks up and it starts saying, no, I don't think so. I mean, I've already said this before, there are no wrong choices. There are always choices we're making. There are no wrong choices. Even if you take that path, you'll go on that path and realize, yeah, no, I don't think so. And then you'll go back I'll go to the path that's right for you. So it's nothing that you're doing wrong. But isn't it better if you listen to your intuition and you go on the right path right away? I mean, it works so much better. You waste less time. You have less pain. You feel less angst. You feel less less of those terrible emotions of doubt and anxiety. And you're on your right path right away, right? That's how I think intuition works. And I love the story of this friend of mine that, pain was caused by his intuition, because he had spent so much of his life, and I know him and I know that he did this. He spent so much of his life not listening to his intuition, right? And so because he spent so much of his life not listening to his intuition had to start resorting to desperate measures. Instead of just speaking in his heart and saying, this is the path you should take, it started resorting to pain, because that's the only thing that he seemed to listen to. And it started manifesting itself as physical pain in his gut. It's so beautiful, right? I mean, it's so beautiful how this absolutely works perfectly. And so gratefully for him, he realized that it was his gut. Most people, what they do, or they would do, is, they take painkillers and they would dull down the pain, and so that your intuition would eventually die out, because there is nothing left there, right? You just dull it with alcohol, with drugs, with medication, with whatever other stuff that we use in order to kill our intuition, right? Why? Because we're afraid of listening to it. It's hard to listen to your intuition. It's really difficult, because the path that your intuition is telling you to take is it's a difficult path to take, right? There's always an easier path and a more difficult path. And your intuition is always going to direct you towards the more difficult path, sometimes, mostly, probably, because it's the path that's going to be the more productive one, the more fruitful one, the one that's going to result in more gains, more learnings. And as I've said before, the universe is always wanting us to gain more lessons. So it's always going to be the difficult path. Of course, we're always going to, if it's easier, we're always going to choose easier path. But if your intuition is telling you to take that path, which is more difficult, and my intuition always tells me to take more difficult path for some reason. My parents always say this to me. They're like, why do you make your life difficult? I'm like, I don't know. It's my intuition. It's telling me to take that path, right? And so your intuition is always trying to get you to take that path, because obviously if we're going to take the path of ease, we'll always go towards our comfort zone. We'll never change our life. We'll never change our path. We'll always follow the same route to work, to our life, and we never really change anything. If our intuition wasn't telling us, do something about your life, you're doing the wrong thing, or you're not moving in the right direction, we would never listen, really. We would never actually follow the path that we're supposed to be taking in order to gain those learnings, right? And so, as I said, there's many different ways that intuition will manifest itself in your body, in your mind, in your heart. And this is beautiful, because it manifested as pain, and now he knows, like, if his gut hurts him, that it's speaking to him. Now, as time goes on, his gut hurts less and less. His stomach hurts less and less, because he's listening to his intuition more, and the intuition knows it's malleable. It evolves. It knows that it doesn't need to resort to such drastic measures anymore. So it becomes more calm, and it speaks to you in a calmer way, because it knows that you're going to listen to it, right? And that's what intuition is all about. For me, it's like the more I listen to it, the less loud that voice becomes, and the easier it becomes for me to follow the path, because it's not dragging me through the path. It's not forcing me to go through the path, and so it doesn't need to yell out that loud, right? When I was first not following the path, a few years ago, when I was not really listening to my intuition and living a life that was truly not my own, because I was afraid to live my real life, my intuition spoke very loudly in a lot of different ways. I'd get migraines all the time when I wasn't following my intuition. I had physical pain manifestations. My heart would start hurting really badly. Like, I would literally get chest pains. My shoulder would start hurting really, really bad, like back spasm bad, that I couldn't get out of bed. And in the beginning, I would just take it as the fact that, I was unhealthy. I was like, oh, I'm just so unhealthy. I'm not fit. So I'd work out harder. I'd do more yoga. I'd eat healthier. But that wasn't the message that my intuition was trying to send me. That was not the message it was trying to send me. It was trying to tell me that I wasn't following the right path, right? It was trying to tell me that I needed to follow a different path, right? And so as time went on, as I learned more about intuition because of meditation, because I sat down still and I realized, it's trying to tell me something, and I started following that path, it didn't need to resort to such difficult measures in order to get my attention. It didn't need to cause me pain in order to gain my attention, right? So I stopped getting migraines. I stopped getting shoulder pain. My chest pains disappeared. And, I would just sit in my meditation, and my intuition would be able to speak to me, because I was being still and I was listening, and I was waiting for her to talk to me. And I would always ask her questions. I'd ask her, what am I supposed to be doing? I'd go to bed with a question, and I'd ask my intuition, what am I supposed to be doing here? I don't understand. And in the morning when I'd get up and I'd meditate, or in the morning when I'd get up, I have the answer. She would have already come up with the answer for me. Of course, you can use different words for it. You can call it the unconscious, you can call it the collective consciousness, you can call it the universe, you can call it whatever. I call it intuition. Words don't matter. But your intuition is basically telling you the path you're supposed to be taking, right? And it manifests in different ways. The reason I mention this is because I want you guys, if you are not really connected to your intuition, to use this story as a as a springboard to figuring out what your intuition, how your intuition speaks to you. Now, for me, as I said, my heart is where my intuition lies, and that's how she speaks to me. Sometimes my gut, but very rarely, mostly my heart. And so that's how she speaks to me. Obviously, my friend, his intuition speaks to him through his gut. And I know other people whose intuition speak to them through their dreams. That's how they get their messages. Other people who get their messages through journaling. So your intuition will speak to you in different manners. Each person has their own communication line with their intuition, right? Not a telephone line, but a communication line of sorts. And so you need to figure out what that line for you is. I'm sure you guys already have an idea, and just build that line further and further. Make sure that line gets stronger and stronger and stronger. So basically you just call an intuition, be like, I need an answer to this question, and you get an answer, right? And that's the way you'd be able to live that true, authentic life that all of us want to live, right? Again, I hope this makes sense. I just wanted to share this with you guys because I just find it so fascinating. I love intuition. I love the way she speaks to me. I love all the answers she gets to me, all of the difficult paths I have to take because of her, and how much I love and adore my life because I live these lives, these difficult paths, and I'm living the life that I want to live, not the life that I'm told to live, right? Again, if you guys have any questions, please message me anytime. I'm here to answer your questions. And I shall see you guys in the next video. Bye for now.